We've loved being in this series on family, and the truth is, though, is we kind of think about transit as a family, and we miss seeing you in transit, and because we think of you as a family, one of the things about families is we have to talk about things even when things are hard, because our hope is that we will grow as a ministry and grow as a family, but the news and the recent events in the news have really been hard to process, and I know that you're processing a lot of those things as well, with George Floyd's tragic death, with Ahmaud Arbery here at home in our own state, and that tragic event as well has really just shown us that racial inequality still exists, that racial injustice still exists, and that the world is still a broken place where sin and evil still exist. And we really all want to do something about it, but the truth of the matter is that we're all experiencing a lot of different emotions right now. And just so you know, as a white male, I'm experiencing embarrassment, I'm experiencing sadness, and I'm experiencing anger and frustration. But one of the things that I know is that if we're going to grow and we're going to do something about this, we first have to be willing to listen to one another. That my experiences as a white male are different than other people's experience. And so that's why I've invited Julius Spencer here, because Julius is not only my friend and your friend, but Julius is a person of color. And I know that he's experiencing different emotions than I am. And so, Julius, I just want to ask you and thank you so much for being here, for being brave enough to be here today. But also, I just want to ask you how you're doing and how you're processing all of the things that are going on right now.
Man, it's a lot to process, and like you said, many of us are processing this in different ways, just depending on who we are, upbringing, where we come from, all that. I got a chance to talk with Kevin Kubandi and hear his perspective in response to that same question, and I would say the same. He said, somebody asked the same thing, how are you dealing with this, how you feeling, how you processing it? And he said, man, it depends on the time of day, honestly. It depends on the hour, because there's so many emotions. Depends on when you ask me what answer I would give you. At times I'm angry, at times I'm frustrated, at times I'm scared, I'm fearful, to be honest. Just thinking through a lot of different lenses, whether that's when I'm out driving, thinking about, I have a son who is in high school, so I'm fearful for what the future may be or what the immediate could be even for him. So it is a lot to process. So again, depending on maybe the time of day that you reach out, you'll get one of those answers. I think underlying though overall, I'm hopeful. Part of it I feel like I have to be, because this is one of those reminders that I'm not in control, that we are not in control. So I'm like, God, I need you to be in control. I need to lean on you. And also in that, hopeful. And I'm hopeful because of the generation that we get to serve. I'm hopeful because of you. I'm hopeful because of transit. I'm hopeful that in this generation, in you guys, is where the change will really happen. That honestly, you guys can end this thing. So I'm hopeful and I'm grateful that I'm able to be a part of a church and a part of an organization and a part of a transit, to be able to maybe help you guys to take that step forward, to maybe end this thing, this tragic thing that we seem to be continuing to kind of walk in and live through day by day.
Thank you for saying that. And I think I want to kind of rewind, because there's a part of it where you're fearful, even as a dad of a son, or you're hurt. I don't want to skip past that to the hopeful part. I just want you to know that I feel that, just talking to you, and I wouldn't know that if you hadn't told us that. And I do know that there are, one of the beautiful things about transit and one of the beautiful things about God is He created us all differently, and there are all kinds of, we're all made differently, and there are all kinds of different ethnicities that represent our transit family. And what do you say to the student out there that's feeling that, that's feeling the anger, feeling the fear? How do you speak to that, or what should they do? What would you recommend them doing right now as they're processing that?
I think, and as maybe out of place or whatever as it may sound, first thing I would say is it's okay to have those feelings. As you said, we're all processing this different, And sometimes we want others to process it like us, or we want to feel how others feel. We try to hide our feelings or push them to the side or whatever. And I think the rawest emotions are the realest emotions. So I don't want to discredit your feelings. I want you to know that it is okay to have those feelings, but it's what you do with those feelings, I think. So again, I to be angry, to be frustrated, to be scared, those are natural feelings. And honestly, these situations kind of evoke some of those feelings. So, but in that, I love, it's not just a saying that we want transit to be a safe space. Like, one tangible action step you could take with those feelings is we want you to know that you can talk to your small group leaders. You can talk to us. You can reach out to us with those feelings, with the questions, with the conversations that you want to have. Like, that's what this is for. No matter what that looks like, what you're going through, what you're feeling, we want this, we need this to be a safe space for you. So that's the reason, that's part of the reason that we create the small group, so you can have these kind of conversations. And I say conversations because these are things that we hope, believe that will continue to go on and not just be a one-time thing.
That's right, yeah. I know. That is super important to us in transit, is that we want this to not be something that we have to all figure out today or tomorrow, but you know, really, this is an ongoing conversation that we get to have, we need to have. What would you just tell the middle schooler out there that feels like, well, I'm just in middle school, Julius, that sounds great, but I'm just, I'm like 12 years old, I'm 13 years old, like this is an adult thing, and I can't do anything about it from where I sit.
I think it starts with you, if I'm being honest. And again, my hope is that it can end with you. But I think it does start with you. And yes, there are certain things that you might not be able to do. We get that. We understand that. I get that. But there are small things that you could do, even if it's as small as just listening. When you're having a conversation with somebody who doesn't look like you, just listening to a different perspective on life or whatever the situation is. And or me and Bryce were talking as well when we were talking with Stu, when you're in a circle of people that maybe everybody looks like you and everybody has the same upbringing as you, and if something comes up that just doesn't really feel right and you feel like you need to speak up about that, you can do that as well. So again, there's not grand things, or maybe you think those are grand, but there are small things that really are big things that you can do. And again, I feel like that's listening within conversations that you have, and then speaking up for the right things, no matter what circle you're in. Wrong is wrong, right is right. And I think being okay to speak up in whatever circle you're in is huge.
That's awesome.